Hello everyone, we are starting up here with the last bit of Hildebrand questline. This will be the finish of the case of the multi-faced Phantom Thief. We're going to start off by talking to Ellie. Shades of Silde. Ellie would share with you the shocking new turn in the Phantom Thief case.
I was wondering when you'd show up, Miro. I hope you haven't made any plans for the day because we've got a situation on our hands. Remember our good friend the Phantom Thief? Well, it seems he's decided to branch out from burglary to cold-blooded murder. If the rumors are to be believed, he's claimed 3 victims already, all influential members of Oldan society. Mr. Manyfaces has been kind enough to leave one of his signature calling cards I'd ever seen, leaving no doubt as to the identity of the murderer. The message is always the same. The weight of 5 corpses will bring the scales of justice to balance. More riddles. Not that you'll hear me complaining. No, the only thing my readers like more than a good mystery is a good murder mystery. Ever since the story broke, the Mithrai's been selling like Pond's cakes. The only rub is that it's left me no time to look into the thief's last message. Until now, that is. Shall we, Miro? The hidden treasure of Ulda, was it? If there's anyone who can shed some light on this, it's you-know-who. 2 sunsilk tapestries.
Alright, Silly and Piamet. What part of the quest are you on here?
Can you guess?
Are you right with us right now?
Yeah.
Excellent. Piamet?
Piamet!
Because I won't need to share screens at all if you, when you're caught up.
Indeed.
That's Silly. That's a dark night. Alright, Silly's joining me now because he's at the same part we are. Is Piamet on the same point we are?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to ask her.
Do you see?
Do I need to share screen?
No. That's me right there!
I know, but...
Okay.
Well now, if it ain't my favorite venture and my favorite Mithril reporter, along with her. Tell me, what have I done to deserve the pleasure of your company today? I see. As much as I'd like to help 2 lovely ladies, I'm afraid you've found old Wyman at a loss. Ulda has more than its fair share of treasures, hidden and otherwise. I reckon a Phantom Thief could be after just about any of them. I can tell you this much though, whatever the thief's got his eyes on, it's got the Sultan sworn in a right dither. Word has it they've formed a regiment of their best and brightest to safeguard the royal vaults from this very threat. The
The Sultan's Sworn aren't like to be forthcoming with information, but it's the only lead we've got. Come on, Miro. I'd say it's time we paid a visit to the heart of the Sworn.
Oi! Hold up there, Ellie! I ain't generally the worrying type, but you might want to think twice before getting yourselves involved in this. A man of my business develops a nose for danger, and this time the stench is something fierce. You're a reporter, Ellie, and a fine one at that, but don't put your pretty neck of yours at risk trying to play the hero.
Your concern is touching, but I can assure you that I'm ready for whatever dangers lie ahead. Besides, being a reporter is about more than selling papers. I have a duty to seek out the truth and convey it to the people. Come, Piamet, time is of the essence.
I'm supposed to replace Piamet with Mira.
Well, sorry.
It's difficult. Don't worry.
Piamet has replaced Miro.
We do stuff like that all the time on Final Fantasy
Piamet,
XI.
Miro, I guess silly.
Hang on. Go this way.
Time is of the essence.
It took me like months to get it decent enough that I wouldn't start saying silly, but then
Hey, I said Miro the first time.
I still do it. I still do it sometimes.
Indeed. Lieutenant Wilhelm, we're going to Hastings Strip.
I've never done this before.
Yeah, this is new. But the unfortunate thing is now you have to wait on me. But I have sprint.
Grab the Ethernet here to the Alchemist Guild. And we're going to talk to Humphrey.
Wait.
Oh, we're going to talk to Ellie first.
Okay. Where have I seen this man before?
Halt! Only authorized personnel are allowed in. The bugger me the broadsword. It's the Gentleman of Light's adventuring companion and that catty but cute reporter from the Mithril Eye.
Well, well, if it isn't the self-styled warrior of light. Tell me, what tall tales did you spin to the Sultan's sworn recruiter to land yourself in this position?
Only the 12's honest truth, miss. Seeing the Gentleman of Light standing all tall and triumphant that day, it moved me to the depths of my soul. Like, I vowed to put aside my sketchy past and serve the realm, just like my hero Master Hildebrand. And the Sultan's sworn were impressed with my commitment and my sword arm, and they gladly welcomed me into their ranks. Wait, don't tell me, you've come to assist Master Hildebrand in this investigation, haven't you? Cor, why didn't you say so sooner? It's the least I could do to help the two ladies who united me with my role model. You'll be wanting to speak with Phyllis. She's one of the Sworn's best, and something of a history buff, it seems. When she heard the thief was targeting the 4 relics of Belladia, she personally stepped forward and volunteered to lead the investigation. If anyone has information you're looking for, it'd be her. Wait here while I get her. I can trust you not to touch anything, eh?
A pleasure to meet you, Phyllis. My name is Ellie from the Mithril Eye. As you may have heard, we were researching the Phantom Thief case, and would appreciate any information that may shed light on recent events. Is that a woman?
Yes.
The pleasure is mine, Miss Ellie, and if I'm not mistaken, that would make your companion friend here one Miro apprentice, yes? You know Miro? As any regular reader of the Mithril Eye would, I must confess to being something of an unabashed fan of your work. Though it hardly befits my station to say this, I was secretly hoping that you'd show up to assist in the investigation. Doubtless the inspector, too, will also welcome a helping hand.
The Sultan's Sworn, the elite of Uldah's elite. I can only hope that they prove more competent than the bungling mercenaries I've dealt with thus far.
Inspector Briarden, always one step ahead of us.
Miss Ellie, Miro, a moment if you would. Right there. Very good. Now face me, and don't move an ilm.
Inspector, what is that in your...
Demasking dust, a formula of my own division that will allow us to see right through the thief's disguises. Analyzing the mask left behind at Vesper Bay, I was able to identify its composition and synthesize a counteragent that would dissolve the disguise, whilst leaving the wearer's face intact. In any event, it would appear the two of you are indeed who you appear to be.
Brilliant, Inspector. The Phantom Thieves pulled the wool over our eyes for the last time. I fear it won't be so simple. The ingredients necessary to produce the dust are exceedingly rare. Even with the entire resources of the Sultan's Sworn at our disposal, we were only to produce a limited supply. I see. Well, I suppose it's better than nothing. That said, have you been able to identify the thief's next target? A hidden treasure of Ulda, the last of the lost 4 relics of Baladia. I fear not. I've poured the histories time and again, but the only mention of these 4 relics is a vague reference in an old prophecy. Most serious scholars consider it little more than a fairy tale. When darkness falls and hope fades to despair, 4 warriors born of light shall descend in the righteous glare. The legend goes on to describe 4 sacred artifacts, one each possessed by these 4 Baladian heroes. It makes no mention as to their appearance or nature.
3 times we have tried to identify the thief's target, and 3 times has he foiled us by making off with something else entirely. Needless speculation will only play to the fiend's strengths.
The artifacts of Baladian origin have been sealed within the royal vault, and a regiment of our finest assigned to its protection. I furnished all the guards with a supply of damasking dust, and instructed them to be on the lookout for any suspicious personages.
The Blackguard will be in chains before he can lay a dirty hand on the vault doors, let alone the treasures within. You have our word, my lady.
But there are even more disturbing matters at hand. Doubtless you have heard of the recent rash of murders perpetrated by our quarry. The Sultan's Horn have launched an investigation, but the truth of the matter is that we have been far too occupied with the defense of the vaults to make any meaningful progress. We would be most grateful for any assistance you could offer.
A lady asks, and a gentleman answers.
The lighting is perfect for this.
Cast all worry from your heart, my lady. Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, has arrived to set right what is wrong and bring the wicked to justice. And this must be the damasking dust that is the talk of the palace. Ah, but you need not waste your supply on me, Inspector. I assure you that I am exactly who I claim to be.
A shame that.
Inspector Hildebrand, we are not expecting you, but your services are most welcome. I will share all I know about the recent murders. The killer has claimed 3 victims thus far: the head of a publishing consortium, a high-ranking government official, and an influential scholar. Other than that, they were all influential figures in their respective circles. We can identify new common threads connecting the 3.
Oh-ho! This will prove a most satisfying case to crack indeed. And what of the method of killing? Conked over the head with a cudgel? Gutted with a greatsword? Strangled with a subligar, mayhap?
I'm afraid that we've identified no pattern. In any event, the murderer plots the deaths of 2 more even as we speak. We must take action, and quickly.
Understood, my lady. Clues may be scarce. But worry not. My realm-renowned powers of deduction are more than up to the task. I will see this burglar-turned-butcher delivered to justice.
Your presence is heartening indeed, Inspector Hildebrand. Friends, please take this damascene dust with you. I fear we can spare but a single sachet, but I trust you will put it to good use.
Alright. Let's speak to Humphrey. The gentleman of light in the flesh. Hell, he's every bit as muscular and majestic as I remembered. And Phyllis?
On behalf of the Sultan sworn, your assistance with the murder investigation is greatly appreciated. Leave the defense of the royal vault to us.
And Ellie?
He may have 1,000 faces, but with Inspector Verdon's damascene dust, the masquerade will soon be over.
And Hildebrand.
Come to accompany me on yet another case, friend? I like your gusto. But if you're auditioning to be my assistant, I fear that role has already been filled most ably. Still, a gentleman welcomes the support of all his admirers. I shall henceforth name you thusly, Miro, my ever-loyal associate. And now, my ever-loyal associate, the investigation calls. I propose that we begin by inspecting the site at which the most recent victim met his demise. My questioning about the palace has revealed that the scholar's body was found not far from the 80 sins of Sasamo. Even the most circumspect of criminals cannot help but leave behind clues that will not elude my gaze. Friends, let us be off. Pray, alert me should you see anyone suspicious, my ever-loyal associate. We must put Miss Phyllis's damascene dust to good use.
Alright. The 80 Sins of Sasamo. That would be in Western Thanalan, just outside of the Steps of Nald, or the Gate of the Sultana. So, go to the Aetheryte, and the Gate of the Sultana.
Current Sultana.
Been a while since we've been here. We'll first talk to Briarden. Flowers? How intriguing. And Hildebrand.
Flowers. Yes, it is all becoming clear now. Our phantom killer is a florist who, in his hurry to escape, carelessly mislaid his wares.
What do you think you're doing, eh? Well, that's a lady.
I'm the one who thought put those flowers there, to honor the memory of my poor boy. You dare defile his memory, eh?
1,000 pardons, my lady. Please accept my most sincere condolences on your loss. I am Hildebrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire. I swear to you, on my own dear mother's name, that your son's killer will be brought to justice. As I was just saying, these flowers were clearly placed here by the family of the deceased, which can only mean...
Leave this place. Run away while you still can. Run far, far away. Run, or he'll turn you into a zombie, just like my poor, poor boy.
A living person turned into a zombie? Nonsense.
Not nonsense, my boy. History. Or have you not heard of the horrors of Silda? Hilda's sibling nation, against which we waged war centuries ago. Much blood was shed by both sides, but I speak of far greater horrors than death. An unholy draught brewed by a Sylvan alchemist, one with the power to turn the living to the undead, that his nation might command an army of mindless, deathless soldiers. The traitors spurn. They turned my poor boy into a heap of rotten flesh and ran him through. But you won't hear that from the Sultan's horn. Thal alone knows why, but they whisked the body away before I could so much as pay my last respects. The traitors spurn. I'd heard the stories, but I never thought them true. To be able to procure such a frightening thing, just who are we dealing with here? A Sultan, I'm sure of it. Only a Sultan would know the recipe. But the last remnants of Sultan died 4 centuries ago, you say? Oh, they did. He calls himself the Phantom Thief, he does. But did it ever occur to you that it might be an honest-to-God phantom? Heard the tales from my own great-great-grandma, I did, about the 4 relics of Baladia and the powers they hold. The power to exact justice. A specter of Silda has returned to wreak vengeance on us. Woe unto us all. Have the 4 warriors of light forsaken us? My dear boy, if only you'd become a traitor like your father. If only you'd kept your nose out of those history books and never so much breathed the accursed name of Silda. But you did, and now we're doomed. Doomed.
That bleeding horse's here somewhere. I can feel it in me follicles. The most potent hair tonic the realm has ever seen. Aye, that it was. For all the fortnight before my flowing locks fell out over again, and I was just a-chatting up a lovely young lass at the quicksand. Just a twist of knife and extra ilm. Mountebank, charlatan. I'll find that so-called inspector and his sorry band, and I'll pull every last strand of hair from their bleeding skulls.
That's an unnecessary amount of hair.
Alright, let's talk to Briarden. Shades from Silda. Living men turned to zombies. The old crone's lost not just her son, but her wits as well. And Hildebrand. Hildebrand is onto something, or at least he thinks he is.
Of course he is. It's all becoming clear to me now. That dear old woman's testimony has confirmed that which I had suspected from the start. Like a zombie, picking away at its rotting flesh, Hildebrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire, has peeled away the foul scab of uncertainty to reveal the truth within. Open your ears and feast your minds on the fruits of my flawless deduction. Our phantom thief is a phantom indeed, a wayward spirit caught between the realm of the living and dead for nigh on centuries since meeting a tragic end on the battlefield. As such, our course of action is clear. We must placate this tortured soul, that it might abandon its vengeful vendetta and travel to the next life in peace. But what is the true nature of the Spectre's grievances? Without this knowledge, we cannot hope to assuage its rancor. Let us begin our search at the Thaumaturge's Guild. Doubtless the tomes there contain a wealth of knowledge on the ill blood between the sibling nations.
Notwithstanding the abject stupidity of everything else that came out of your mouth, some knowledge of Silda may serve us well. Go research as you will, and do take as much time as you need.
You can count on me, Inspector Briarden. Whatever knowledge is to be gleaned at the Guild, it shall not escape my inspector's eye.
Alright, we gotta go gather information At the Thaumaturge's Guild. Time to whisper go. Alright, let's see here. So we have to find books in the Thaumaturge's Guild.
What about this person out here?
I guess we have to talk to them.
What person?
He's a Lalafell.
Naneko.
I don't think that's part of our quest.
What is it part of?
You can,
Yeah,
that's
It's-
separate quest. It might be, actually.
yeah, it is. It is.
Haven't you done this before?
A long time ago.
It would have an exclamation point if it was new. And this is a lady, right?
Yep.
Gods be good. You're the adventurer who saved me back at the ruins. Researching the ancient feud between Ulda and Silda, are you? Why, I'm pleased to say I have more than a passing familiarity with ancient history. To understand the history of the sibling nations, one must go back further still, to the birth of their mother nation, Baladia. The 5th Astral Era was an age of untold wonders, when the arcane arts burgeoned and the great civilizations that commanded such powers flourished. This age of enlightenment would not last, however. Power bred avarice, and avarice bred resentment. It culminated in the War of the Magi, which brought the great floods of the 6th Umbral Calamity, which in turn swallowed once proud nations and left a battered wasteland in its wake. Mages were reviled and persecuted for having caused this catastrophe, with many forced to leave their homelands or face death. It was a small band of those survivors that found their way to Thanalan, where they would found the nation of Baladia some 8 centuries gone. Imagine a government of mages, by mages, and for mages. What wonders might have been wrought had Baladian civilization survived to this very day. Alas, this is not to be.
Alright. Yaya Roku looks like the guy. He can be Yaya Roku. Silly.
Greetings, traveler. You would learn of the war between Ulda and the fallen Sultanate of Silda? It would be my pleasure to enlighten you. The two city-states coexisted for several generations until the bad blood between them boiled over, culminating in outright war. As you might deduce from the present state of affairs, Ulda emerged victorious, leaving its once proud sibling nation in smoldering ruins. As the histories tell it, the battles fought between the sister nations were the stuff of nightmares. In a desperate attempt to overcome Ulda's superior numbers, Sildan alchemists devised the most horrific stratagem. Employing a frightful formula known as the Traitor's Spurn, they brought their fallen warriors back as undead soldiers. Some theories have it that they even employed the potion on those of the living who were too weak or wounded to fight. Sends shivers up the spine just thinking about it, no? It is truly a crowning glory of our fair nation that our forebears were able to emerge victorious against these horrors.
Alright. Yeah, Kokobuki, and let's talk this one up here. Erasmus.
It's literally a Latin name, or Greek name.
You don't say. It's not every day someone comes to our halls to research Silda. As a fellow student of history, though, I'm more than welcome to conversation. Baladian civilization flourished in relative peace until twin sons were born to the royal family. The two were fierce rivals, and then they came of age, and their father passed. Each one claimed that he was the rightful heir to the throne. With neither son willing to relinquish his claim, they agreed to split their kingdom in two, forming the twin nations of Ulda and Silda. But not unlike two proud princes, the sibling nations developed a penchant for rivalry. Silly, are you ready to reprise your role as Kokobuki?
Sure.
Miro, don't surprise me like that. What's this? You're here not for your studies, but to learn of the bad blood between Ulda and Silda. 2 scales, one of gold and one of silver. The gold of Ulda weighing prosperity and power. The silver of Silda weighing knowledge and power. But the powers sought by the 2 nations differed greatly. Yes, greatly indeed. The power wrought by Uldan prosperity was that of justice and good, while the power wrought by Sildan knowledge was horrific beyond belief. The power to rip the living soul out of a man and render him a mindless killing machine. On this matter, the histories are clear. But riddle me this, my friend. Who writes the histories, and what does this say of the words writ within? Yes, truth can be elusive and fickle as the shifting sands. As one example, did you know that in the war against Silda, Uldan and Amalja warriors fought side by side? Likely you did not, and neither did I until I encountered a faded passage in an ancient text buried deep in our archives. And yet, in the histories read by the populace, you will see no mention of this most fascinating fact. Might it be that someone, at some time, deemed this particular truth less than convenient? But I have said enough already.
Interesting. The Uldans and the Gladians, or the Sildes, have an interesting history. It's almost like the Uchiha background.
My ever-loyal associate, tell me, what have you learned from your questioning of the scholars in these halls? Indeed. As it happens, I have learned much the same. Let us take a moment to review and allow my peerless powers of deduction to work their magic. A war of succession divides the great civilization of Belladia, giving rise to the sibling nations of Ulda and Silda. The 2 nations coexist for some generations until ill blood boils over, culminating in outright war. Daunted by Ulda's superior military might, Silda employs their advanced alchemical knowledge to horrific ends, transforming their own citizens, alive and dead, into a fearsome undead legion. Yes, I believe I have it. The facts at hand have led me to one unassailable conclusion. Our phantom thief is a descendant of doomed Silda who seeks vengeance against those who reduced his countrymen to slavering zombies. To pacify his soul and send him peacefully to the next world, there is but one course of action. We must find the Sildan statesman who conceived this dreadful stratagem and have him apologize to the thief in person for the suffering he has wrought.
A brilliant plan. Perhaps you'd like to go find yourself a shovel and dig this statesman out of his grave yourself? Leaving aside this nonsense of spirits and specters, it appears increasingly likely that our quarry shares some link to Silda. His garish garb is no doubt meant to evoke the silver scales of the fallen Sultanate. The Sildan connection would also serve to explain the rare knowledge of Balladian art relics our thief clearly possesses. But what of the murder victims? What common thread amongst them could have incurred the ire of our adversary?
A few people in town spoke of a man sighted calling upon the victims in past days. Those who saw him said he had a most frightened air about him.
Wait. Yes, it's coming to me. Of course, my keen investigator's senses ring out with a voice loud and clear. This man Ellie speaks of just might know something.
You really should stop thinking so hard. You're like to strain a brain muscle. Miss Ellie, who is this man and where might we find him?
My sources identified the man as Kukuria, a traveling merchant known to frequent Horizon. Shall we pay him a visit?
Yes, we shall. But I need to stop my recording for a moment.